Hello and welcome to Right from the Kick-Off with your host Joe Wright, and joining me as always is William Bayliss. How you doing, Will?
I'm very well, Joe. Lots to talk about this week as always.
Yeah, there's loads to talk about, and before we get that all underway, just remember to join us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Moving on. So the first thing we want to talk about, really big breaking news this week, is that it looks a done deal. Sorry. Haaland to Man City. What do you make of that, Will? And well, we've been discussing this off air for the last day or so. Is it a good thing for the Premier League? And obviously, it's what Man City need. I'm not disputing that, but is it a good thing for the Premier League in general?
I think yes, and I don't. So for you, Joe, do you think it's a good move?
Absolutely not. No.
Why don't you think it's a good move? You tell me your argument first.
Well, I think the thing is, we are going to be lost in this whole. We have this thing in England where it's like the Premier League is the best league in the world. Obviously, it's disputed heavily at times, but I genuinely do believe it is. And it has been for a long time. I just think with the amount of teams that are involved, you don't really know who's going to win it. There's always a choice out of 6 teams that could potentially win it, maybe 4 or 5 actually, because I don't think Tottenham have ever got a chance of winning it. But it makes it exciting. But with this, Man City now have won 4 out of 5 of the last Premier League titles, and I just think they are becoming the new PSG, and we are very close to becoming the new French league, La Ligue 1. So I think it's dangerous, and I'm excited to see Haaland in the Premier League. Don't get me wrong. I think in terms of brand for Man City, it's brilliant. I think for them as a whole, it is brilliant. But I just don't really see. You might as well just give Man City the Premier League now.
Very interesting how you say it, Joe, because I actually disagree. I think it's good for the league. People want to see the best players in the world playing, and yes, he costs a lot of money, but nowhere near as much as how much Lukaku was.
No, but it's not about money. It's about competition. That's my whole point. The money's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, you could say that, but on a Man City's point of view, they needed a striker. They've been doing it without an out striker. Would you be saying the same thing if they bought Harry Kane?
Yeah, I would. I really would. I think it actually would make it worse if it was Harry Kane, because it takes a big element away from Tottenham. This is the thing. This is what you don't understand. I think Man City is in general are ruining the Premier League, and to be honest, it's already coming to fruition. And this is without a striker. What you're not seeing, Will, and it's quite clear from your argument, is yes, it's great to see Haaland in the Premier League, and I completely agree. But it is you say the best players are playing in the Premier League, and you are right, but they're all playing for one club.
But are you saying that Liverpool aren't going to give them a race? Because
I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't. And here's
wait, hold on, Joe, because you've been quite we aren't normally as confrontational on this podcast, but I do see your point. But at the same time, players on how much longer does De Bruyne have? How much longer? There needs to be the next opening of the guard, so to speak. And when you say go to the next level, yes, Haaland is one of the best generational talents of this generation, arguably. Other than you could argue Mbappe, but
I'm also going to open this up, Will, as well. Obviously we're going to disagree on this one, but I think this particular signing also shows how poor Pep is as a manager.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Explain.
Yeah, a big explain. Okay, so Klopp, for example, right? You can tell he's got the whole team working in a direction. He's made players better, right? Salah before he came to the Premier League wasn't exactly a world beater, was he? In terms of what we, in terms of he was a good player. I'm not saying he's not. Before you interject, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player, but Klopp has made him better. You look at players like Jota, again, good player. He's turned him into a, and you can see Diaz going the same way. All of these players, right? Who did Man City buy for 100 million last season? What's his name? I forget. Oh yeah, Jack Grealish. Has he had a better season than he did last season or not? No, he hasn't had the best season.
But
in fact, I'd probably
hold on, Joe, because
you're asking me to make my point. I'm making my point. I don't see how you could not agree with that.
Joe, you said that Pep isn't a good manager and he hasn't made players better. Kevin De Bruyne wasn't a world beater when he joined Man City. He's now arguably one of the best midfielders in the world.
He fits Pep's Pep's system, doesn't he?
What you're saying, that's not the argument. You could say
no,
fits
but
up,
all I'm
for Liverpool.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, name me 5 players that you think Pep has made better at Man City.
At Man City.
Yeah, go on. Name me 5 players, and I'll see whether I agree with them or not. Because I guarantee you, De Bruyne is the only shell you've got in your bucket.
So Kevin De Bruyne, obviously, you could say Phil Foden. He's a youth player. He's getting
but he was already an up and coming before Pep was there. But fair enough. Yeah, give you that one.
Yeah, but you could say that.
I'll give you that one. Carry on. Move on.
John Stones. He's a better player now than he was at Liverpool. I know he's had injuries.
I don't agree with John Stones. Don't agree with John Stones. In fact, if he was such a good player, why isn't he in the squad week in, week out?
Because of his injury record.
Yeah, but still, I don't think he's particularly got better whilst Pep's been at Man City. I don't agree with that. Carry on.
Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, again, fits into the system nicely. So yeah, fair enough.
Come on. So that's 4, right?
These are good. I mean, that's 3 because I don't count John Stones. So I asked you to give me 5, and you're struggling to give me 3.
My conversation, yeah.
Go
on. But what I'm trying to say is that...
yeah, exactly. I asked you to give me 5, whereas I could give you 8 players that Klopp's made better.
Go on that. And by the way, if you guys listening, if you have any arguments, please let them down below, because yes, me and Joe are arguing, but it's fine. It's fine.
So Trent Alexander-Arnold, that's 1. Robertson 2. Salah 3. Henderson 4. Right. Fabinho.
Henderson was there before, and he was.
Yeah, no, he was, but he's gotten better since Klopp has joined. This is the whole point of the argument, right? So Henderson 4, Fabinho 5, right? I'm not Mane 6, Diaz 7, and then Salah 8. There you go. There's your 8 players. Done, dusted. And that's not even to mention a super sub, Divock Origi, who obviously comes into the times of need. He's a better manager than Pep, and I think Pep is a fraud.
Whoa, there's a big claim there, Joe.
Yeah, well, come back to me when Pep wins the Champions League, because it's the only thing he's been brought in to do, and he's not done it. And when you've got an unlimited checkbook, it's very easy to manage.
I'm not arguing that Klopp's not a good manager. That's not the point I'm making. I'm saying Pep's also an elite manager.
No, not at all. Not at all. When you've got, like I say, when you've got the power of an unlimited checkbook, you can. Bearing in mind, can we just point out, right? I always go back to this argument. Obviously, being a Leicester City fan, a couple of seasons ago, we beat them 5-2 at the Etihad, right? The day after we beat them 5-2 at the Etihad, they went and signed a £50 million defender in Ruben Diaz.
Hang on, Joe. That's not just because they lost against Leicester. They would have.
But actually, I think it had a lot to do with it, right? And also,
are you serious right now?
I'm not saying it's just because that game. Listen to what I'm saying before you interject, right? I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but what I'm saying is it had some bearing on the signing, right? And it's the same with the results leading up to that. I think they're drawn a couple of games as well, so Pep can just roll out his checkbook and go, right, which signing can I have? And this is the problem that I've got with the Haaland signing, is it's not quite worked out in terms of Grealish, which they paid an extortionate amount of money for in 100 million. It's not worked out, so he's gone, right, okay, let's go and buy one of the best centre forwards in the world. It's nice, isn't it? You know, if Leicester, if Liverpool had that willpower, you'd be top of the league. You would be, regardless of your manager. Genuinely, if Brendan Rodgers had an unlimited checkbook, I think Leicester would be up there challenging for titles year in, year out, and potentially Champions Leagues. So you can't sit there and say that. And you would never put Brendan Rodgers and Pep in the same breath. But that's pretty much all I'm saying that separates them. When you look at it like that, when you look at it on the fabric of that statement, right? Then yeah, great. He's won 4 out of 5 Premier Leagues, but that's because he's not playing the likes of Real Madrid every week. And the games that he does play against the bigger teams, he struggles to win.
Well, hang on a minute, Joe. He has been in like so many. He's been in League finals. He's been in countless semi-finals. He's still playing with big teams. He's still beating the big teams. And the loss against Real Madrid, arguably.
I mean, did they win
wait, hang on.
Did they win the Carling Cup this year? No. Did they win the FA Cup this year? No. So
hang on a minute, because you complained at me for interjecting. Now you're interjecting when I'm in the middle of my point.
Sorry. I'm just fired up over this one. Sorry, Will.
I'm trying to figure my point again now. But to say that he's not a good manager, everywhere he's gone, he's won, and he has won Champions Leagues before. Like,
look,
I think it's more than the manager. I think the whole team ethos needs to change. I know we talked about that last week, but that's a whole different issue for me. No, your argument is that Pep isn't a good manager, and I think that's wrong.
I mean, no, I'm not. I never said he wasn't a good manager.
Yeah, you did.
I said he was a fraud, and I don't think he's an elite manager. But I never actually said the word. I don't think he's a good manager. I think he is a good manager, but I don't think he's as good as everyone thinks.
Everywhere he's gone, he's won leagues. He's won.
Yes, but he's been Barcelona in the prime with Messi, with Busquets, with Iniesta, with Xavi as the midfield. Before he got there, Bayern Munich. When he everywhere he's gone, he goes to super clubs until he does it at a level where he can make a team better and go in and physically get them challenging for titles. I'm sorry, Will, but you're not going to win this one. Look at the teams that he's gone to. He's had an unlimited checkbook. So Joe, you can't convince me he's a brilliant manager. Yeah, he's a good manager in the environment where he's given unlimited money. And I have to say this, Will. I actually think that the online presence of this opinion, it is swaying in the opinion that I've got. You think it's a shocking opinion? It's not. There's a lot of people out there who have this opinion of Pep, and I'm sorry.
And equally, there's a lot of people who have my opinion. That's why we love football, because it brings out these debates, you know. I think we should move on from this, because we could be here all day talking about it. And I know what I think, you know what you think. And yeah, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
To the title race, because Liverpool slipped up against Tottenham. Tottenham were the better side that game. Klopp came out afterwards saying, "Oh, he didn't like the way that Conte played." But Tottenham took them to them. I know you like Klopp and everything, but I think he was wrong to say that.
No, I have to say, funny enough, for the first time on this podcast this week, I'm going to agree with you in the fact that we did message after the game, didn't we? And I said that's the one thing I don't like about Klopp's character, is he's not a graceful loser. There's many kind of times where he's come out and sort of said, I don't like the way they play this, that, and the other. It's like, well, they're not going to come up and open up against you to they're going to try and get a point. And actually, like you say, on the counter attack, I think Tottenham played terrifically well. So realistically, yeah, I do agree with you. I think Klopp was a bit sour grapes on that particular interview.
Yeah, but would you say with only a few games to go, that is Man City's to lose now again?
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what happens tonight against Wolves. Obviously, Liverpool did beat Villa at Villa Park last night 2-1. Which puts them on level points. But even with the goal difference, Man City are still ahead. I think that realistically, you'd have to be nuts to say it's not over. I think it is, especially if they win tonight. I can't see Man City losing really again. Just on the point I previously made, and I wanted to know what you thought of this though. There's a lot of the English media saying, of course, Tottenham aren't going to open up against you, this, that, and the other, and everyone's like, Tottenham played really well. When Villarreal did it in the Champions League, when Atletico Madrid did it in the Champions League against Man City, the English media had a field day calling them boring. What do you make of that? I mean, the English media
I'm not gonna
is
lie,
massively biased.
I agree with you, Edjo. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You come there to get a result. What's the best way to get a result? Hit them on a counter attack if you're always going to be into the cosh all the games. What's the point of being open at the back if you don't need to be? You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, at
it's
the
all
end of the
about
day,
percentages at the end of the day, isn't it, Joe? Like
teams like Villarreal and Atletico Madrid aren't going to outplay a Man City in terms of possession-based game, are they? So
no. So why magic? Why didn't you play to your strengths? Is what they did. Like I highly commend them for what they did because, like. And say it's not the footballing way. Like football's a results business at the end of the day, isn't it?
it is 100%.
Villarreal has been notoriously really, really good in the Champions League under Unai Emery, hasn't he? Sorry, not just Champions League. I mean other European competitions. He's won the Europa League countless times, and he's done really well to get to the semi-final of the Champions League. And to people to like grading them, I don't think it's really wrong. If an English team did that, they'll be like lauding it.
Of course they would. Of course they would. Right, moving on then. So, obviously, what do you think, Will? Then, do you think it's Man City's to lose? I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. I think that tipped the scales because now the goal difference is higher, and I know Liverpool won last night against Villa, which is, I think, a draw would have been a fair result personally. But
I'd agree.
Yeah, I think John Moss had a bad game.
I mean, the official. I know we've not said we were going to talk about it, but just briefly, what do you think of the officiating this season? We've been talking about it off air. The officiating from all officials really this year has been absolutely in the mud, hasn't it? It's been bad.
Overall, not just the Champions League, not just the Championship, not just League One, not just League Two, but down the board, it has been really, really poor. And I think there needs to be real question marks. But I personally, I know we digress quite a lot on this podcast right now, but all these rule changes and everything is helping him because clearly there's confusion across the board, isn't there, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, me and you, we sat and watched a League Two game the other day, didn't we, with Mansfield? And I genuinely, Mansfield Town, I genuinely sat there and I went, I mean, the officiating. I know that we're League Two's at a lower level and stuff, but it's still a professional football. It's still in the professional football pyramid. So you'd expect a higher standard. Some of the refereeing, and I know they don't even have the help of VAR, but wow, it was so poor, and you very rarely get it now where a referee has a good game. If you don't mention the referees had a good game, but I can't think of one or two performances in the last couple of months where I've gone, oh, the referee had a good game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm talking, I mean, me and you, we watch football week in, week out, don't we? All types.
Day in, day out, more like.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say day in, day out. So it's, just to see the referees, and I mean in Europe this year as well. I mean, I know they're obviously from different countries and what have you, but the officiating there has not been much better.
Yeah.
And I think, like you say, the rule changes within the game itself hasn't helped. But yeah, the officiating needs to get a lot better. Right, moving on. We're going to go talk about the playoffs. We're going to start with the League One playoffs, funnily enough, only because the semi-finals have already been complete. And it's Sunderland and Wickham that are in the final at Wembley. Who do you fancy for that one, Will? Well, who do you want to go up, and who do you fancy for it for a start?
Oh, I think it'd be. I think Sunderland will have obviously they'll sell out. They'll probably get 45,000 fans there, no doubt. They already had that for the league game, didn't they? Sorry, for the semi-final at home. So I think that might just tip them in their favour. But they're a big club, massive fan base. They've been through a lot of rubbish lately, a lot of crap, and I know before I said that I wanted Wickham to go, but I would be happy that if I'd going up. I don't know about you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would like to see Wickham go up, just because obviously smaller club, underdog story, that kind of thing. But I also wouldn't mind seeing Sunderland back in the Championship. They've had a couple of bad seasons, and obviously and not meaning to make it about another club, but obviously with Newcastle's newfound riches, I think it's not been a great time to be a Sunderland fan, has it, in general? So for them to get back up to the Championship, and potentially push on again towards the Premier League would be a good thing, because they are a Premier League sized club. There's no doubting about that. But there's a lot of them down there. I'd even include your boys in that, and that you've been down in the Championship for God knows how long. So
It feels like my whole life.
But I'm saying in terms of Premier League club size, I mean, you look at Forest and the attendances they've had in the FA Cup and various games this season. So, do you know what I mean? There are a lot of clubs down there that could easily be considered a Premier League size club. You look at the likes of Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday. Leeds United have been down there. I know they're in the Premier League at the moment, but you got Portsmouth that are down there at the moment as well. Coventry, potentially, they've been at the Premier League side as well. So there's a lot of clubs, isn't there? Aston Villa have been down there at one point. So there's always these big clubs knocking about. So yeah, I think Sunderland will be looking to push back up the football pyramid for sure, and I think they will do.
Yeah, and I think it'll be very exciting to see with the playoff final. But let's move on to where you're currently in Mansfield. So they're in the playoff for the League Two. How do you think they're going to do?
I'm not too confident, to be honest with you. I don't know how much you know about what happened on the last day of the League Two season. But of course, Northampton, they needed to get a win and to hope that Bristol Rovers didn't absolutely demolish Scunthorpe. Obviously, Scunthorpe were already down. Northampton actually ended up winning 3-1. Obviously, same points as Bristol Rovers, which meant that Bristol Rovers needed to beat Scunthorpe by 7 goals or more, which you think, oh, that's impossible. They went on to win 7-0.
And bearing in mind, it was only 2-0 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, I know there's been a lot of inquiries into the Scunthorpe team, because obviously they're already going down to the conference, and the manager decided to put the youth team out. So there's a lot of kind of debating around that, especially if you're a Northampton fan.
Yeah, I would be upset by that.
But it means that Mansfield face Northampton in the playoff, and it could play to their advantage. With they've actually finished the season off all right, Mansfield. I think they've had like 3 wins and a draw, or a couple of draws and a couple of wins in the last 4 games. So not too bad, but enough to get them into the 7th spot, which is where they finished. But it's a difficult one to call. I'd like to say that Mansfield will get through to the final, but I think if you look at the teams on paper, I'd probably just give it the edge to Northampton.
Yeah, because they'll be round up, or alternatively, their heads could drop.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, I can't remember the other 2 teams that are actually in the playoffs, because I've not looked that far ahead. I don't know whether you know that one for me, Will. But I think
Tottenham.
I think whoever wins the Mansfield Northampton sort of semi will go on to potentially push and get into to League One.
Yeah, it's Port Vale and Swindon, the other two teams.
I mean, two very good teams. Swindon won 3-0 on the last day of the season. Port Vale, I believe, got a draw as well. So I think very good teams. You know, Mansfield have had a bit of a jittery time of it with the teams in and around them as well. So obviously, I want Mansfield to go up because they're my local team. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'd tip either Northampton or Mansfield Town to go up if they get through to the final, because it was I mean, yes, all right, Mansfield finished 7th, but it was very, very close on points. I think
they could have easily went up automatically, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could have. They were still in with a small shot going into the last day of the season. I mean, if they'd have beat
Salford,
then it would have been a completely different story. But yeah, I think you know, they're very close and they finished 7th. So it just shows you how close the rest of the table was, and also the actual league itself was decided on the last day of the season as well. I think Forest Green, because they got a draw against Mansfield, actually ended up winning the title on goal difference with Exeter. So yeah, it was all very close down there. But
yeah, well,
anyway,
so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But let's move on to the Championship playoffs. So obviously, my team Forest finished 4th in the end with a last-minute equaliser by Hull, a bit of a fluky goal. Forest thought we'd won it with a 92nd minute penalty, but Hull went down the other end and scored, which meant we finished 4th. So we've been actually going to be playing Sheffield United in their first semi-final, who have a lot of momentum.
Right, I'm going to obviously ask you. I'm going to kind of be the interviewer in this scenario, asking you the questions. How do you feel about that? Because obviously, I remember messaging you, and I was like, "Oh, you're playing Luton for the entire game. So you're playing Sheffield United for the entire game." And then I was like, "Oh, you're playing Luton. Scratch that. You're playing Sheffield United."
Yeah.
How do you feel now at Sheffield United?
In the car because I had to take someone somewhere. So I was celebrating when. Because I was like, oh, right, we've got a better chance against Hull. But, you know, if you want to go up, you have to beat these teams, don't you? So you have to, you know,
don't yourself. Also, don't discount Luton. You know, they did beat you the other week as well. Don't forget. So,
yeah, but
you know,
if
Luton,
we played again, I'd fancy our chances more than against Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it is going to be very, very close. It didn't quite go your way with potentially automatic promotion. I genuinely did think as a neutral fan that you might get there. I mean, how are you feeling now that you know you're in the playoffs? How are you feeling as a fan and going forward into the playoffs? Are you feeling confident? You feeling nervous? Obviously, or you feeling both? Do you know what I mean? How are you feeling?
This time, next Tuesday when it's a playoff, going to be a whole different story. But for now, I'm quietly confident, but you never know. You never know.
Sheffield
United, we haven't lost our momentum from the final 2 games where it's a loss and a draw, you know. But we'll see. We'll see.
I just wanted to ask you this. This isn't part of Joe Asks, Will Tells, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. I mean, do you think with Forest there is this kind of there's a massive pressure? Because obviously you're a massive club, you've been in the Championship for what and down to League One for a bit now for what seems like an absolute eternity. Obviously, yep. I think I was last time you were in the Premier League. I think I was 5, for example,
and I was 4.
5 or 6. So I think there's obviously this massive pressure. Everyone talks about how Forest are a massive club, which you know must be great to hear. But also with that comes the pressure. Do you think that it kind of feeds into that? Yeah, and you have got a kind of a tendency to be known as a bottling club in these situations.
I mean, yes, certainly in the playoffs, like we've never got past the semi-final stage. We haven't been to Wembley, and we've been in 3 playoffs over the last 12 years, with League One and 2 Championship ones prior.
I mean, even with the League One, you had to get promoted automatically, didn't you?
4 times, sorry, because I realised 2005, I think it was, against Sheffield United. So let's hope we can bury that ghost and beat them this time. But yeah, I think going into it, nervous because the playoffs are always a bit of a lottery, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and I think that's why when you had the opportunity to get promoted automatically, I was hoping you'd get that, because I do think now it becomes it it really is a 25% chance. It's funny when it comes to football, because you think, oh, it's 4 teams, but it's obviously there's going to be a favourite team. With the playoffs, it really is a 25% chance each, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it is such a lottery, like you say. So I'm hoping Forest can do it, but I do have my doubts. I think it being Sheffield United as well, they are the better team than Luton, and I think they'll be well up for it. Sheffield
Yeah,
United.
and arguably, I think whoever wins this semi-final will go up in the final as well. So I think this is the semi-final.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Huddersfield. I think they've got a very, very good team behind them as
No, for
well.
sure.
So,
I'm not discounting it, but I think Sheffield United have the momentum behind them. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah, for sure, and go with that. Right, last section today. I know it's been a bit of a mix and match podcast in terms of us coming up with content on the spot. But Joe asks, Will tells, and this is going to be a hypothetical question, Will, leading on from the Forest playoff. If Forest get promoted,
That's a big if.
promoted, um, where do you feel they will strengthen? Do you feel like you're going to keep certain loan players? Do you think you lose loan players, obviously, like your Gardeners? Do you think obviously Johnson will definitely stay at that point? How do you see the transfer transactions going if Forest get promoted? Only
Well,
if get promoted. That's all I want to know.
that's a very good question, JJ, because I think that I've seen in the papers and online that if we were to get promoted, Spence would want to stay, which I don't blame him because he's getting week in week out. He's confident here, blah blah blah, and
And I think
for
you'd be able to sign him as well. To be fair, if you were a Premier League team, I think you would be able to sign him.
yeah, for sure. I think we'll keep Johnson. I think we'll keep all our players. I think us fine. So if we were to get promoted, the players who I think will be still starters in the Premier League. I don't know how you feel about this, Joe. Is Samba because he's been in the top flight of France before with Cairns.
Yeah,
Worrell, who's been linked to West Ham, so
yeah.
pedigree. McKenna, he's been a brick. Obviously Spence, Johnson. So there's 5 players already. So I'm not trying to discount any of the players, but like if we get promoted as well, I think we'll sign Garner again on loan because I'm not sure if he's ready for Manchester United yet.
I
So
mean,
he'll be a really good addition.
there's been a
So
few.
that's 6
There's been a
players
few
already.
Man United fans who would like to see him in the side, so it'd be interesting to see what happens with him actually if you do get promoted.
Yeah,
I was
but
going to
that
say
just
he's
reminds
definitely.
me. It's a FA Cup U final tonight. Forest against Manchester United. A sold out Old Trafford. Forest are taking 6,000 fans there, and come on, Forest against Manchester United.
Yeah, let's go for it. Right, so like I say, if you want to comment on any of the sort of discussions or arguments in this week's
It's
case.
been very heated. We're not normally this heated, are we, Joe?
Yeah, we're not. It's because I don't think we often disagree with each other as much as we have done today. We always disagree, obviously, but I think yeah. So it'd be nice to know what you think about Haaland. Do you think it's a good signing for Manchester City? Which I do think it is. Do you think Pep is a fraud? Because he definitely is.
Nope.
Who's the better manager between Klopp and Pep? And who do you think are going to go up through the playoffs? If you could give us your thoughts and views on all of these issues, it would be great. And just one little thing that I want to look at towards next week's podcast, because obviously we'll be coming toward the end, we'll be looking at teams of the week. And also maybe talking about the fact that it is a Winter World Cup this year. And how does that impact on players trying to play for their places at the World Cup this year? All right, guys. hopefully listen in next week, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for joining me today, Will, as always.
Thanks very much, Joe. And just before you go, I'd just like to